Hello, hello, happy Thursday. I'm Michelle Query, your health and life coach, and today we are talking about intermittent fasting protocols and choosing what is right for you. Um, you might be saying, what? Why would I want to starve myself? But actually, intermittent fasting is more like a rhythm that your body already has, right? So, kind of let's clear up the confusion. Intermittent fasting is not a crash diet, it's a lifestyle where you alternate between periods of eating and fasting. And like all things, right, there's no one size fits all. It's like choosing the playlist for your workout, right? You got to find the groove that resonates with you with fasting. So kind of let's walk through some of the different intermittent fasting protocols to find which ones are right for you and understand that you might use multiple different methods. These methods were all created by someone, they worked for them, and they use them as a consistent routine, right? But you can choose as many different types of fasting as you want to work for you, especially when we're talking about cycle syncing. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is the 16-8 method. So it's having an 8-hour eating window. Um, I think someone had said breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dine like a pauper. It's like having brunch every day. And that's perfect for people who love to break their fast and love to have dinner. So you can have your 8 hours whenever you want. So maybe you eat at 8 a.m., but then you stop at 4 p.m., right? Or if you eat at noon, then you stop by 8 p.m. Whatever works for you and your schedule, you can put those 8 hours in there, 8 hours altogether, wherever they fit in. If you really, really love to go out and eat breakfast during a breakfast time, a typical breakfast time, then you may want to eat at 8 or 9 before breakfast closes, right? If you are someone who really wants to have dinner with their family like I do, I mean, because that's the meal that we are all together most of the time. So then that's why dinner is typically what I end up ensuring that I have with my family. So usually when I do an 8-hour eating window, I will start closer to noon. The next one to talk about is a 5-2 approach. So that's 5 days of just eating however you normally eat, and then 2 days of fasting. And typically they say with a calorie restriction of about 500 calories eaten at one meal on that day. It's kind of like your body's mini vacation. You get to, eat all kinds of new things during the 5 days that you're eating, and then, have, a home cooked meal, small meal on, the other 2 days. Remember, those 2 days of fasting, though, are easier when they're spread out instead of if you do them 2 days in a row. And once you are kind of used to 24-hour fasting, again, if you're approved by your healthcare providers to do it, then you can consider doing the 2 days in a row, and maybe just having a small meal of 500 calories or less, during those 2 days each day. But just make sure that it's something that you have done before, so you're getting more used to it. The third common method is eat, stop, eat. So that is fasting for a full 24 hours once or twice a week. Kind of like your Netflix binge. You're engrossed. Before you know it, it's time for the grand finale feast. So it's not difficult as it may sound. For example, right? A lot of us think 24 hours, that means, I stop eating on this day and I don't eat again until 2 days later. What we're saying with 24 hours is actually if you eat dinner, and then the next day you don't eat again until you have dinner, as with it being around the same time. That gives you about 23, 24 hours of fasting time. And I tend to like this method of doing when I want to do a longer fast, I tend to like going from dinner to dinner for my longer fast, because I do end up eating during both days. Just something to consider. It's an actual 24 hours of time with eat, stop, eat, and not, ensuring that you don't eat during a full day. The next method is alternate day fasting. So one day on, one day off. It's kind of like a weekend for your body. It gets to chill and detox. Perfect for those that just want to enjoy variety in their routine. So this method results in what I was talking about before, that kind of 36-hour fast each time. So you eat breakfast after waking, say at 8 a.m., finish the day with dinner, say you have no more food after 8 p.m., and then you eat again for breakfast 2 days later at 8 a.m. So this is what you will often think about when people say you're having a fasting day. It's the whole day. That including, dinner. So not eating any food during that time. The next one I want to mention is the warrior diet. This is often used by men that are trying to bulk up, I think. So it's more like under eating during the day and then fasting or feasting at night. So it's like, focused and intense during each of those, right? So it's typically like a 20-hour fast followed by 4 hours of more overeating. And especially for them, protein, usually focused on protein. That meal that they have during that day is typically more like 1.5 or 2 times a normal meal that they would have been having, because that's the calories they're getting in. It's only in that short 4-hour window. So the interesting part about these 5 methods that I just mentioned is that someone decided to try them and had success improving their health with them, or maybe with the warrior one, if they were wanting to bulk up, by just having a lot of protein all at once, right? So each person who made these methods, right, created these methods for a purpose. They found success with those. And, so there is benefit to all these methods. What is most important is that any amount of intermittent fasting has a benefit because it's actually part of our normal cycle to kind of cycle through times when we eat more and eat less. Just think of, the days and the seasons, right? Sometimes days are shorter or longer. And that would always impact our ancestors when they were able to do hunting, when they were able to do cooking, when they were able to gather. So there were always times when there would be more food and less food based off the normal cycles of the earth. So what it means, though, is that all of them can be modified to work for you. So if you try one and you don't fast, say, as long as it wants, like maybe you're trying warrior and you're trying to do 20 hours and then it doesn't quite work for you, that is okay, right? Maybe you only do 18 hours and then you want to eat. That is fine. It means you succeeded in the amount of fasting you did decide to do. It's always a process of learning what's going to work for your body. And a lot of these things, like I was saying, because of the past, they didn't have things that were hormone disrupting things, lights, blue lights, fake foods. Some of these things have kind of messed with our bodies enough that we're not even able to listen to our bodies very well for what is most important. So just understand there is no failure in intermittent fasting. You fast as long as you are willing to fast. You see how it feels. You assess and decide, do I want to keep going with this or not? Is this the amount of time I want? Do I want to try going longer? Right? And you see what works for you. So 5 common fasting methods. Which one sounds like something you would like to try or modify to fit in with your needs and lifestyle? So how do you pick the one that'll work for you? So there are things to consider to make your choice. First is, does it harmonize with your lifestyle? What are your daily rhythms? Are you someone who wakes up early and really needs something in the morning to kickstart your day? Are you someone who, works late into the night? or reads books all night, right? Then you might want to align your fasting periods with whatever your natural flow is. If you normally don't wake up until 8 or 9, right? Then maybe you fast a little bit longer and you wait until noon or 2 before you eat, right? If you wake up early, say you wake up at 5, then it may be something where you are ready to eat by 9 or 10. So just kind of look at what is your rhythm. And again, that just kind of looking at what I do, right? Oftentimes when I do fasting, I fast in the morning because I want to have dinner with my family. So that's part of my lifestyle, having dinner with my family, and we have dinner around 6 usually. Next thing to look at is your hunger cues. Listening to your body. So how does your body respond when you do fasting? Some people feel really great, especially like after a 16-hour fast, once, their brain is working off the ketones from fat, while others might turn into hangry monsters. So if you've been eating the standard American diet, then hunger cues may actually be a little wonky at first, right? Because you have, all kinds of processes going in your body that are used to getting certain things. A lot of a standard American diet has sugar, a lot of, refined added sugars, and you have gut bacteria that really love those. So they may make you angry and hungry at the same time. That often actually happens as well if you've been fasting too long during a time in your cycle when you need carbohydrates to build hormones. So speaking to, us moms here, it's like if you're having a cycle, then there are times in your cycle that you need to be consistently building hormones, especially at the end of your cycle with progesterone, and it wants carbohydrates to build that. Next thing to look at is your energy levels. Your body is your best friend. If you're bursting with energy during fasting, then you're doing it right? If not, you might consider tweaking it. And also, those first couple times you do it, it might be that your body is again going through the issues with sugar, and whether your body may be wanting more sugar because it's so used to having it. So that can mess with your energy levels. But also, but that's kind of like consider tweaking whatever you might be eating. Make sure you're having whole nutritious foods. You can have treats here and there, but not every time you eat, right? Especially if you're doing this and working on doing something for weight loss. Also for wellness, it's more important to not have, concentrated, refined things like, like sugar, because when you do, it has fast spikes in your insulin levels, and that can start to mess with your hormones as well and your energy. So make sure you're looking at what foods you're eating. And next is long-term sustainability. So it's kind of like a long hike. Choose a pace that you can maintain without collapsing midway, right? That doesn't mean don't try longer fast windows like the 24-hour fast or longer. It does mean not to plan 2 in a week until you've done once a week a couple of times to know how your body reacts to it, and to make sure that you're fueling your body, like I said before, so that it actually is beneficial to your body and not a difficult fast. And 5 is your nutritional needs. You don't want to skimp on nutrients, right? Some of that can happen with, say, the warrior ones, where you're only having a 4-hour eating window, especially if you choose to eat a lot of things that are not nutritionally dense during that short window. Your fasting should complement your nutritional requirements, not compromise them. So when you don't give your body what it needs when you eat during your eating window, it will ask for more to get the nutrients that it needs. And also something to consider is sometimes your body needs water and you are actually thirsty and not hungry, especially during fasting. Your body will say, I'm hungry, but when you drink water, then a lot of times that hunger will subside in, say, 10, 15 minutes. Okay, so which intermittent fasting do you want to try? So make a plan to include it in your week this week. Okay, so now let's talk about cycle syncing. So each type of fasting can work into your cycle. You want to ensure that you are not fasting during times that you are building hormones that support your cycle. During your menstrual phase, you're resting so you can rest your digestion at the same time and fast for a minimum of 13 hours, but that's when you can also do longer fasts. During your follicular and ovulatory phases, continue intermittent fasting. That's when your energy is pretty high, right? So it's also a good time to do intermittent fasting. Again, greater than 13 hours. Your body will use the fat that you have to fuel your energy. And then the luteal phase is when you want to give your body a break from those longer fasting times. This is a time that maybe you decide to have 3 meals a day, or ensure that you're having less than, say, 15 hours of fasting, so that you're continually supporting that progesterone production and your emotional health. Just ensure that you are choosing fasting times that correspond with the needs of your cycle in terms of hormone production. Okay, so now that you've chosen a fasting protocol, yay you, kind of ease into it. Start by extending your fasting window gradually and seeing how your body responds. Remember that intermittent fasting is a journey, it's not a race, and you get to decide and build a fasting protocol that works for you. And remember, life happens, right? Birthdays, vacations, unexpected taco nights, all that is absolutely fine. Flexibility is the secret with any lifestyle change. So if you can't stick to your usual fasting window, no big deal, right? Just hop back on the wagon the next day. No guilt trips, right? So, just recently, right before my daughter left for college, my mother-in-law wanted to visit with her. Well, the day that we were going to have lunch with her was a day that I was going to do a full day fast, going from dinner to dinner. So instead, when I learned we were doing it and I was fasting the day before, instead of eating at 2, which was my plan that day, I went ahead and extended all the way until till 6 p.m. till dinner, so that I would get that fasting day in. So then the next day, then I ate, I believe we ate at noon, so that, I kind of swapped those days. That's the good thing about intermittent fasting. It's very flexible. You can choose and swap out whatever you decide to do for fasting. Also, so that's kind of it. So intermittent fasting isn't about depriving yourself. It's about nurturing a deeper connection with your body. So embrace the adventure, celebrate your wins. Like any amount of fasting that you do is a win. Learn from the challenges that happen when you're fasting. What's coming up for you? Are there cravings? Are there other times when you're thirsty? Do you need to incorporate more things like bone broth or flavored waters? And keep a positive mindset. You've got this. Remember, I'm here for you. Drop any questions, thoughts, or any fasting tales that you have in the comments below. Until next time, have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye.